All praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel. As I always say, who out there practicing or following the law of liberty. All right, so today we're going to continue with our lost books. I'm going to a book called Susanna, Susanna 1. Now, this book is a part of the Apocrypha. You know, the Apocrypha was those 14 books that we removed from the Bible originally. They were included in the Bible. But it's also kind of a not too known book, but it's pretty interesting. So this book, first let me give you the background. This is during the time of our Babylonian captivity, when Israel once again fell into captivity, this time to the Babylonians, and the ruler at that time was Nebuchadnezzar. This was also during the time of Daniel and was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the three Hebrew boys. You know, we all know that story. So this takes place during that time. Babylon was a wicked kingdom. So every time we go into captivity, a lot of our people, you know, start to take on the ways of our captives, and you know, fall into all kinds of wickedness and heathenism and all that other stuff. Sort of like we are right now in America. You know, a lot of our people are gone, man. I don't know other way to say it, just gone. But anyway. So that's the kind of the background of what this book or this story takes place. So let me get into a little bit more of the background of the story before we actually get into the reading. So in Babylon, there lived a man named Joakim, who married a very beautiful and God-fearing woman, Susanna, the daughter of Hilkiah. Her parents were righteous and had trained their daughter according to the law of Moses. Joakim was very rich, and he had a garden near his house. The Jews had recourse to him often because he was a most respected man and uprighteous. That year, 2 elders of the people were appointed judges, of whom the Lord said, "Lawlessness has come out of Babylon," that is, from the elders who were to govern the people as judges. In other words, these judges that were being appointed were lawless and wicked. You know, that's what was going on during the time of Babylon. You know, they were just wicked people, man. So even our judges were wicked at that time, inside of the captivity of Babylon. You know, we still had our own people that were judging our people. However, the 2 elders appointed as judges they became obsessed with Susanna because she was very beautiful. They lusted after her. And this is consistent with their corrupt behavior as immoral judges. They could have looked away, but they chose not. They kept looking at her and, you know, gawking at her, you know, because she was beautiful. So, you know, they came together and conspired to rape her, you know. Wow. So they hid themselves private in the garden and ogled at her. And when she came along, they revealed themselves and solicited her. But she refused. And so they threatened to tell everyone. They caught her cheating on her husband with another man. That's just wicked. And the penalty back then for adultery was death. So trapped in a no-win situation, Susanna decided to act morally. She turned them down and screamed for help. So that's sort of like a little background of this book. So let's get into the reading. So there dwelt a man from Babylon called Joakim, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Hilkiah, a very fair woman, and one that feared the Lord. Her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Now Joachim was a great rich man, and had a fair garden joining unto his house, and to him resorted the Jews, because he was more honorable than all others. The same year was appointed 2 of the ancients of the people to be judges, such as the Lord spake of. That wickedness came from Babylon, from the ancient judges who seemed to govern the people. These kept much at Joachim's house, and all that had any suits in law came unto them. Now when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk. And the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed towards her, just inflamed. And they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgments. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet durst not one show another his grief. For they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they desired to have to do with her. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. And one said to the other, Let us now go home, for it is dinner time. So when they were gone out, they departed the one from the other, and turned back again. They came to the same place, and after they had asked one another the cause, they acknowledged their lust to each other. So they did. So they left. Thought about they going home to eat, but both of them ran back and they saw each other. So they both had to say, "Yeah, man, we came back to look some more at her, man." Then appointed they a time both together when they might find her alone. And it fell out as they watched a fit time. She went in as before, with two maids only, and she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. And there was nobody there save the two elders that had hid themselves and watched her. Then she said to her maidens, Bring me oil and washballs, and shut the garden doors, that I may wash myself. And they did as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at a privy door to fetch the things that she had commanded them. But they saw not the elders, because they were hid. Now when the maidens were gone forth, the two elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, Behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us, and lie with us. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maidens for thee. Then Susanna sighed and said, I am straitened on every side. For if I do this thing, it is death unto me. If I do not, I cannot escape your hands. It is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the two elders cried out against her. Then ran one and opened the garden doors. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at the privy door to see what was done unto her. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made against Susanna. And it came to pass the next day, when the people were assembled to her husband Joakim, the two elders came also, full of mischief, imagination, against Susanna, to put her to death, and said before the people, Send for Susanna, the daughter of Joachim's wife. And so they sent. So she came with her father and mother, her children, her father and mother, her children, all her kindred. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman, and beautiful to behold. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered, that they might be filled with her beauty. Therefore friends and all that saw her wept. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people, and laid their hairs upon her head. And she wept, looking up towards heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord. And the elders said, As we walk in the garden alone, this woman came in with two maids, and shut the garden doors, and sent the maid away. Then a young man, who there was hid, came unto her, and laid with her. Then we that stood in a corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. And when we saw them together, the man could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out. But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she would not tell us. These things do we testify. Then the assembly believed them as those that were the elders and judge of the people, so they condemned her to death. Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting power, that knowest the secrets, and knowest all things before they be. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die. Whereas I never did such things as these men had mischievously invented against me. And the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of these women. I am clear from the blood of this woman. Then all the people turned them towards him and said, What meaning these words thou hast spoken? So he standing in the midst of them and said, Are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination of knowledge of the truth ye have condemned a daughter of Israel? Return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witness against her. Wherefore all the people turned again in haste, and the elders said unto him, Come, sit down among us, and show it us, seeing power hath given thee the honor of an elder. Then said Daniel unto them, Put these two aside, one far from another, and I will examine them. So when they were put asunder one from another, he called one of them and said unto them, O thou art waxed old and in wickedness. Now thy sins which thou hast committed aforetime have come to light. For thou hast pronounced false judgment, and hast condemned the innocent, and hast laid the guilty, and had let the guilty go free. Howbeit the Lord said, The innocent and righteous shalt thou not slay. Now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me, under what tree sawest thou them accompanying together? Who answered under a manstick tree? And Daniel said, Very well, thou hast laid against thee own head, for even now the angel of the power have received a sentence of power to cut thee into two. So he put him aside and commanded to bring the other, and said unto him, O thou seed of Canaan, and not of Judah, beauty has deceived thee, and lust hath perverted thy heart. Thus have ye dealt with the daughter of Israel. They for fear company with you, but the daughter of Judah would not abide your wickedness. Now therefore tell me, under what tree didst thou take thy company together? Who answered, Under a home tree? Who answered, Under a home tree? Then said Daniel unto him, Well, thou hast also lied against thy own head, for the angel of power waited with the sword to cut thee into two, that he may destroy you. With that, all the assembly cried out with a loud voice and praised the power, who saith them that trust in him. And they rose against the two elders, for Daniel has convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor, and they put them to death. Thus the innocent blood was saved the same day. Therefore Chelsea, the wife, praised the power for their daughter Susanna, with Joakim her husband, and all the kindred, because there was no dishonesty found in her. From that day forth was Daniel had great reputation in the sight of the people. All praises. So he divided both of them and asked them, What tree did y'all see it under? And they both said different trees. So right then and there, they knew they was lying. Wow. So this is a quick story, and I hope you guys listen to this video a couple times and meditate on it. And may the Most High Yahweh bless you. All praises.